Well, hello, ladies. Good evening, Dunamis Woman community. Let's see you all come on in tonight as we are live for our first Woman of Power interview. So let's see how you all come on in here. Gonna let you all warm on up into the room as we kick this off for our Woman of Power interview. I'm going to make sure I can see the comments here as we get started. So come on in. You all know how we're going to do. We're going to tag another woman, because tonight we are really aiming to hit. Let's see if we can do a goal. We can hit the goal of. Let's see if we can do 250 tonight. Let's go for 300. Let's see if we can go 300 viewers tonight. And we may even go over that. So right now we're at 70. So y'all keep tagging a woman as we come on tonight, because we are kicking off our Woman of Power interviews as we say no more. All right. No more. To what? All right. We're saying tonight, no more to passivity. And so I told you all that I was going to bring a woman every night for a Woman of Power interview, and y'all are going to meet the first amazing woman that I'm going to bring for this interview tonight. So before I bring her up, I want you all, we're at 130. So keep tagging, comment down below where you are from, because I want to see what city and state you guys are representing, where you are from. And if this is your first time, tonight I want to shout out the first timers. So if this is your first time and you have not been here, comment down below. This is my first time, because I want to welcome all of our first timers. And I'm going to introduce myself before I bring in our speaker for tonight, or the interviewee. So those who are with us for the first time, or with me, my name is Ariel Fuller. I am the co-owner of Dunamis Woman Enterprise. Right now, you all are in our powerful Dunamis Woman community. We're here, we focus on healing within the depths of our soul so we can transform our life and relationships and ignite our power, which is dunamis, through prayer and spiritual warfare. And so this community is filled with tons of powerful women, truthful women, I could say, within the past 6 years since we've had this community. I have not had any ill will, knock on the table, that has happened with women in this community. So I'm grateful to say that I think this community has really transformed the lives of women. And so if this is your first time, welcome. If this is not your first time, I want you to welcome anyone who's the first time, to let them know that this is real. We are real. We are women of power. And this week I'm focusing on Woman of Power interviews. So let's see, we're at the live views. We're at 213, y'all. I said we got to get to 300. All right. So I'm not bringing in our guests until we get to 300. So we had 225. Y'all think we can hit it before I bring in the guests? Y'all think we can hit it? All right. Yes, Marianne. Hey, Barbara. How are you? So before I bring in our first Woman of Power, okay, I said last week on my Wind Down with Ari, which is going to be our regular segment here within the community. But I said on my very first Wind Down with Ari that I'm going to be bringing you all back to back this entire week, Monday through Friday, Woman of Power interviews. And we are literally going to remind you, ignite you of the power that you possess, but we're also going to overcome some areas in our lives that has hindered us from operating in our true power. And tonight, one of those areas that we're going to focus on is passivity. I want y'all to put that down below in the comments. Passivity, because passivity has caused you in some area, whomever is watching this, that it comes to diminish your power. It comes to diminish who you are as a woman. And I've been not coaching as long as my mom, who's the founder of Dunamis Woman, but I've been hearing so many stories of women that have come in this community, and they really had to break through this passivity, because it hindered them from making decisions, which we're going to get into. It hindered you in a lot of areas. So this woman that I'm going to bring, I will be the first to say that she does not struggle in a lot of areas with passivity. Matter of fact, she's like the opposite. Okay. She is radical. She is bold. She is, let me tell you like it is, but I'm not not going to say that she hasn't faced passivity in some areas of her life, because she probably has, right? And this is where she's going to come. But I wanted to bring someone who really can walk in this essence of who she is as a woman and break through the thought of even being passive. Because just because I don't struggle with it on a daily basis doesn't mean that I don't break through it. And this is why I wanted to bring someone to you all who can really show you how to break through it, not so much how to pacify the passivity. So without further ado, I think we're close enough. We're at 280 viewers tonight. I still want to hit 300, y'all. So they're still coming up, still coming up, still coming up. But I am going to bring in our beautiful guest. Y'all want to guess who it is? Y'all want to guess who it is? Because I didn't tell y'all. It's not my mom. I mean, y'all already know my mom is not passive. Y'all already know it's not her. All right, it's not her. I feel like that'd be too easy. That'd be too easy, okay? But I'm going to bring you the most beautiful woman in the world, all the way from Maryland, coming on the screen, Miss Angie Litford. Hello, Miss Angie.
Hello, Dunamis Woman community. Hey.
Now if any of y'all know Angie, you know Angie is radical. She is bold. She is in so many areas. But Angie, before we even just jump into the topic, how long have you been a part of this community? When did you come
in? It's been, is it 7? It's coming up on 7 years.
7 years.
Yes.
7 years.
Established 7 years. Yeah.
I think you came in the first year we started the community.
The first cohort. Yep. I was one of the first cohort. Yep.
The first cohort. Oh, they said Lakeisha. They thought it was Lakeisha. Yes, this is Miss Angie. Oh, and Shell, we got to 303. Shout out to y'all. We had 300 live viewers. 300 live viewers.
Awesome.
So, okay, before we jump in, because some people may know you, and they may know that you're bold, you have a lot of energy, you got the whole vibrancy. I should have pulled up some pictures of you just being all out, right?
Don't embarrass me, Ari.
They good pictures. But when you first came in, where were you? Were you struggling with some passivity when you first came into the community?
Yes. When I first came in, I did. I was struggling with passivity because I had been betrayed. And so I had been hit in the depths of my core. So my mind was scattered. Mm-hmm. My mind was very scattered when I first came because I had never experienced anything like that. So I had to get the tools needed, as your mom said, as Mama D said, I needed to be built back up.
Yeah.
It hit me in my core. So by my mind being scattered, I couldn't make sound decisions. I didn't know what decisions needed to be made.
Yeah.
So, once she said I needed to be built back up.
Now, it's funny that you mentioned that, because have you ever considered yourself to be a passive woman before that happened?
No.
What type of woman were you?
I've always been straightforward, honest, true to myself, true whatever I had to speak, straight shooter. I wasn't one that looked for pity or anything like that. But when that hit, it was something I never experienced. So I didn't know how to move. So that kind of made me passive because I didn't know what to do. I didn't have nobody to go to and didn't understand all what had happened to me.
Yeah. And I think that's so key. And I want y'all to put in the chat, that's a nugget, because I'm going to bring that nugget back to a perspective. But first, before I do so, I want every woman listening to remember, especially if you struggle with passivity, I want you to go back into a time that you remember where you weren't passive, when you were free, when you spoke your mind, when you spoke clearly, where you thought clearly, imagined clearly, even if maybe it wasn't your verbal expression, but just think about that last time that you felt a strong sense of self. That could be 3 years old, that could be 4 years old, that could be 5 years old. Whatever that time is. And I want y'all to really meditate on that while you're in the comments and chat, and give me an age. Drop an age below where you're like, this was the time that I remember, maybe not fully, I didn't know who I was, but I remember that I was
free-spirited.
I was free-spirited. Yeah, I was free-spirited. Nothing really shunned me away. I had a sense of self in some way, right? Let's see what ages these are, because I sent you all a newsletter. If you're not in our Dunamis Women community via email, I sent a newsletter earlier this afternoon about passivity. And one thing I said in this newsletter, I said so many women adopt a passive approach to life. This is a big thing because we adopt this. We don't always come out the gate, out the womb, free as passive. We come out free spirited. We come out with an awareness of wanting to explore the world, but something happens, like you said, something came into our life that happens to make us adopt this passivity spirit.
Yes.
This passivity. So we see Cheryl, you said 24. Abril, you said 6 years old. Hey, Abril. Curleen, you said 20. Yolanda, 25, 9 years old. Right? Age 3, Brianna. That's such a young age. And at the end of the day, something happened in that moment that we adopted this passive approach to life. And now when we adopt this, it can cause us to not tap into our fulfilled potential. We miss some opportunities. We feel like we don't have control over our life. And for you, Angie, it was the betrayal.
It was the betrayal. And even, it was several where people tried to, make me become passive. When I, like when I was in church, because I was free spirited, because I spoke my mind, because I spoke the truth, it was like, you too radical, you need to calm down. And even when I tried, it just didn't work because it's not a part of who I am.
Yeah.
And, I'm listening to, like you say, somebody said that, it was at 3. It could have been because your parents told you to be quiet. My father, always told us.
That was me. That was me.
I did. I had the mouth of gab and still do. But every report card in elementary school, through junior high school, through high school, it came home. Antoinette talks too much. But I was an honor roll student. So my dad had a mouth of gab. And my mother used to say, be quiet. But my dad always told us to speak our mind, speak your truth, but be respectful when you're speaking your mind. So think about what you're going to say before you say it. So I never was that one to say, oh, you sit down and shut up. Children don't know what they talk. I didn't come up in that way. And I know a lot of kids and a lot of people, a lot of my friends did come up in that environment.
Yeah. And the thing that when we think about overcoming passivity, and you have mentioned this about how betrayal is what brought you here, and whether that was betrayal, whether that was a parent that told you to be quiet, whether it was a death in your family that hit you to your core, whether it was even just pain that came and inflict you, that it said, hey, I need you to shun away from this. It could be something as simple as bullies.
Yes.
In school, who make
you shut down.
You just shut down, right? You tiptoe around certain things, or a man that you was attracted to, but then all of a sudden he just was, inflicting all these harsh words on you. So you just started shattering your confidence. The biggest thing to overcoming passivity, and the reason why we're saying no more to it, but in order to overcome it, you have to first identify the root cause. Yes. You have to recognize that it's not your identity. You have to identify, where did this root begin? Where did this root actually start? Because it creeped up on you without you even knowing it. But so then you adopt it. Yes. You adopt this passivity. You adopt this, maybe I should just, not say anything, or maybe I shouldn't be bold. And let me tell you, most women who struggle with passivity, including myself, we have really bold voices.
Man, that bold voice of self-doubt, because you self-doubt yourself.
But when we speak, and when we get mad, or when we operate, we have some like loud, strong voices, right? It's really interesting how those who deal with who could be passive also have like powerful voices. They're not like, but they appear to be small, in their voice, but really they have some loud, strong, bold voices, right? And the reason why I'm saying we got to identify the root cause is because the enemy, he already knows what this root is that creeped in to say, yep, Angie had all this power alone, but let me just let this betrayal come in real quickly and shut her down in her power.
Yes.
Shut her down from speaking her mind. Shut her down from not even being able to walk in her power, because what comes is that now it strips you of your power.
Yes. Insecurity. Yeah, all of that.
Insecurity, all of that. So this is why identifying that root cause, which I told y'all to put that age there, whether it's 3, whether it's 24, whether it's 15, you need to know that this was the moment that the enemy said, yep, I'm going to take Tammy's power. Yep, I'm going to take Ebony's power. Yep, I'm going to take Michelle's power. Because if I can take this and I can cause her to be passive and I can hold her into this bottle where she can't break through, now I can control the rest of her life.
I mean, that damages your confidence, all of that.
Everything.
Which
leads us into, once you identify it, now this no more passivity is not so much, when we say no more, we're really saying F you, devil. Like, I'm pissed.
Yes. And I'm not shutting up no more. I'm going to speak up. Yep. I'm speaking up. Whatever that is, I'm speaking up for myself. I'm going to stand up for myself.
I'm standing up, because I identify this is the area that you really tried to attack me. And I've been holding on to this. And it wasn't even so much the person. It was more so the fact that you really tried to plot and plan
to shut me down.
Something to shut me down and to cause me to lose my confidence. And this is why when I work with women who have dealt with this passivity, we always got to go to the root, because it's like you holding on to something and being passive about something that is controlling you, when really you have to understand that I have the power to control this.
Yes.
How I move, how I operate, how I speak up. So I consider you to be, Angie, someone who really knows how to speak her mind, speak boldly. So how did you really build your self-confidence back up after you got hit with the betrayal and the passiveness?
Well, I stayed the course and still staying the course. You know, your mom gave me strategies, and I did a lot of self-talk, you know, even in my growing up. I mean, out of all of my friends, I was always the darkest one. So that was something I that shut my mouth, being passive. And it wasn't that I was passive. It picked at my confidence, because it's like, you know, I was always called blackie, you too dark, I'm not attractive. So it kind of, you know, wanted to shatter, but it was, you know, I had to say to myself, and in the mirror, you are beautiful. Just because you dark doesn't mean you're not beautiful. And then as I got older, I heard, to be a dark-skinned girl, you're pretty. Just say I'm pretty. Why you got to tell me just because I'm dark? So that kind of wanted to shatter my confidence too. But I mean, I did a lot of self-talk to myself, you know, saying I'm beautiful. I am that girl. I have power, girl power, whatever the saying was out when I was growing up. I took on those, you know, those things. And then the strategies that your mom gave me, you know, it's like, you are beautiful, you know, reconfirm yourself, affirm yourself, affirmation. So I would place them on my mirror, place them on a refrigerator, and just read them to myself.
Yeah. Self-talk is very key when it comes to, you know, building your confidence. But I also think for me, it wasn't so much about the self-talk, because I struggled a lot with like negative talk in a lot of ways. I think for me, you know, to build my confidence was really, and I'm just speaking in my standpoint, I had to really embrace some of my gifts and some of my skills. Because it was in my gifts that I realized this comes as a rarity. And when I recognize that when people are around me, whether that's a man, whether that's a child, whether that's whomever, they're getting a part of me that's a gift. And if I rob them of this experience and really what I carry and who I am, I kind of felt like I was doing other people a
disservice.
Yeah, a disservice.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to realize that, like, it's kind of like a revenge in a way. It started off in a revenge.
Yeah, I got something I could give.
Yeah, but it was almost like when like how you say when people say you beautiful for a black girl. I'm gonna be honest. Can I be honest, y'all? So people used to be like, you got a little booty for a skinny girl. I was like, what this supposed to mean?
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I may got a little tootie booty back there, but it ain't about the booty,
right?
It's about the substance that's inside
of me. Yes.
And so when I used to start being around people, and it used to be a little bit of revenge, I'm not gonna lie, because I was a little passive. But once I got comfortable around the person that I was around, I would be like, I'm gonna give you the best version of myself.
Me.
That if you ever leave or go anywhere, I mean, I want like 10 years now, you still thinking about me.
Yes.
Because you'll never experience another woman like me. And I'm not even talking about body, right? I'm just talking about conversation, you know, things that I can do, empowering you, like all of that. I realized that my confidence was really in my gifts,
yes, okay.
in my personality and who I was.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that's just really kind of how I started building my confidence. It wasn't so much for me, the self-talk. It was more,
I'm going to take my gift and I'm going to make my gift work for myself. Hey,
and people talking about me years later, like, you ain't gonna never forget. Like my mom always say, you'll never find, right? You'll never find another me.
Yes, there's no other RL out there.
Yes, and you have to realize sometimes that the person who caused you to lose your power, whether that's a parent, whether that's a man, whether that was a bully, whatever it is, like, you have to realize that you are a unique individual that they're never going to experience. And even when they have hurt you and threw daggers at you, that very parent may need you to care for them.
Yes. And it's always something inside of them that they're lacking. Because they see it, but they want to damage you.
Yes.
So that's how I had to look at it. I was like, okay, she called me black. Okay, so why you cross-eyed? So I did a little revenge too, are you?
Right. But no, I think that's so key, is like that building the self-confidence. You have to find your own unique path to build your self-confidence, whether that's, you know, affirmations, whether that's speaking, you know, highly of yourself, whether that's, you know, operating in your gifts, your skills, your talents, whether that's writing, whether that's poetry. But you got to find your own place where you can say, hey, this is something that I can thrive in to build my confidence.
Yes.
And I used to sometimes, even with coaching with women, you know, I used to have them write. Just even if you can't verbally express what it is,
yes,
write it out to the person that you want to get that out to. Doesn't mean you have to literally give it to them. But when you say no more, you can write this stuff out to say, I'm not dealing with this no more.
Yes, I still do that sometimes. If I'm too angry or too mad with you, to get it off of me, because I know if I speak it, it's going to take it another way. So I will write it out. I would just write it out, and it made me feel better. And I gathered my thoughts. So when I went back to that person, I'm not as angry because I already wrote it out.
Now, this came to my mind because I struggle with passivity when it came to men. Because I always did speak my mind. And I think sometimes, you know, I don't know if you've ever been this way. You get on the phone with a man and you just don't know what to say anymore. So you end up sounding stupid and you haven't expressed your words and you mad because they don't want to inflict passivity something on you. So now when you're trying to stand up for yourself or when you're trying to say something, it don't come out the right way.
Right.
I have dealt with a lot of what we learned about in here, spirit of Leviathans, but call it narcissists, whatever you call it, gaslighters. I mean, people that will really twist your words to get back to you.
Yes.
So my passiveness started coming because it was like, okay, how do I tiptoe around trying to say what I had to say to this individual? And I felt like every time I would get on the phone, I would just get mopped up. Like I just get take 2 steps backwards, say the wrong thing. He twists my words, twists my thinking. I'm like, am I ever going to get ahead of this? Like,
yes. And see, that's how I am. You know, you get that the thousand type of person. It's like, I'm trying to say what I'm saying, but you taking it, you twisting it. That's not what I said. And because my personality is strong, and then some guys like, she just too aggressive. And one time, you just defiant. You just defiant. I'm gonna be defiant because I'm gonna stand up for me, because you taking it, twisting it.
So here's where my limit came, and y'all, I'm being transparent in the community, and typically y'all don't hear me cuss as much as my mom. But I had this thing where I used to get so fed up at some point where I said, if a man ever heard me say my name, and I used to be like, because my name is Ariel Monique Fuller, right? That's my middle name. And I used to say Monique was like my like the hood part of me that would come out, right? And I would get to a point in a conversation where I'd be like, you talking to Ariel, mother Monique Fuller, and I would just be going in, right? And the moment I say Ariel MF Monique Fuller,
it was coming.
Right? And at that point, I was going in. But the thing that I would say, and it wasn't going in like with a nasty Black woman attitude, but I used to use that as a measure point for me.
Because that was it. You was fed up.
If I ever got there, I was like, Ariel, even if it came in my mind and not my words, and some people got the words, but even if it came in my mind, that's when I realized, okay, you need to step back. You need to really clearly formulate what it is that you want to say to this individual, and not only just say it, but what is the decision you're going to make
after that?
Follow what you say.
Exactly.
Because passivity keeps creeping in when you let people stay who keep causing you to be passive. So I knew when I got to that point, it wasn't that I was just pissed, because it wasn't about the enemy. I mean, it wasn't about the person.
Right.
I had to realize that the enemy was using this person to keep me in my emotions, to keep me in my mind, keep me speaking certain things. And when he continues to keep playing on me in that way, it's like, okay, now I gotta start making some decisions.
Yes, that passivity of emotions will get you.
I got to take my emotions out of this, because you are a tool that's being used to keep me passive in some areas. So when my spirit used to say, okay, you get into this point, now I would literally write out what it was that I want to say very clearly, not long-winded, because, as women, we can be very long-winded.
Yes.
And I would have to, and it goes into my next point of speaking up for yourself. I would have to speak clearly what it is that I wanted to say and make a decision and stand firm on that decision.
Yes. And that's key right there, Ari, to make that decision, because, you got to make that decision. I'm going to speak boldly. I'm going to speak clear and stand in my truth. But am I going to still have these type of conversations with you?
And I was done.
You got to make a decision. If I'm done with you, I'm done. You have to make a decision and stand on that decision.
Yes. And it may not even be done with the person, but I'm done with that conversation.
I'm done with that conversation. We're not going to revisit this. We're not doing this.
Because someone who makes you passive, or anything that comes in your life to make you passive, even if it's a decision you're saying to yourself, not even another person, you can literally say to yourself, I'm not going to diminish myself in this atmosphere anymore. I'm not going to diminish myself at work anymore. I'm not going to diminish myself in this organization of women, or whatever the case. You even make a decision with yourself that I'm not doing this no more.
Exactly.
So when you say I'm not doing this no more, now I'm making a decision to do something differently, because now every time I'm making a commitment to myself, not the commitment to him or the passive place or where I used to be. I'm committing to myself that this is now how I'm going to operate in this space, with this person, in this atmosphere, with this family, with this employees, whatever it is. I'm making the decision that this is who I am.
Yes. And you don't revisit it. Sometimes, we go back and you want to revisit. If I made my decision, I've said what I said, that conversation is done. We need to talk about something else, because I'm not going to revisit it. You can revisit all you want, but I'm not, because I've made a decision that I'm not operating like that again.
Yeah. And you can, and you owe that to yourself. Who, whatever avenue you're struggling with passivity, you owe that to yourself to say, let me build my self-confidence to make a decision to do something different. And so this goes into, the next thing of overcome this passivity, because you got to speak up for yourself.
You have to.
And that's not, don't take my Ariel MF Monique Fuller like that. Okay. That's not what I mean by speak up for myself. When I say speak up for myself, I mean really expressing my standards, what I need,
Set those
boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm saying it in an assertive and respectful. That's the key word.
Respectful. Yes.
Man.
Yes.
Respectful.
That's the key. Respectful, and let it be your truth. Don't who and ha about it. Well, maybe no. Make the decision. Speak it, like you say, and be respectful. That's why sometimes you got to walk away and write it out. Because if it get into a high pitch angry, it's some things going to come out that you don't want to. So you know not to speak when you're angry. It becomes disrespectful. I'm like you. I know you. I know me, because it turned a whole nother way. So go write it out, come back and be respectful, and just stand and speak. You have to stand up for yourself, and not people will continue to dummy you down, push you down. Then you lacking confidence. You walking in tiptoeing around. I'm not tiptoeing around and walking on eggshells. No.
This is really why healing here in Dunamis Women community is so key. Why we're going on tour for the Healing from My Soul tour is because we're allowing the space of women to express what it is. You got to get that rage out of you. You got to get that anger out of you. You got to get all that stuff. But how do I still walk in character? How do I still walk in respect? How do I still embody the beautiful woman that I am and not let the beast, like we learned in the last Healing from My Soul challenge, that beast come out, because that's not my true identity. Who I am as a healed woman means that I can still speak my truth very assertively, very respectfully, very clear, where you understand who I am, but I don't have to literally say it with an ill will, with a nasty attitude. I don't got to be disrespectful, because if I do that, I'm still giving my power over to
the person. Yeah.
I'm not really saying no more. I'm just really stirring up a whole bunch of mess.
About your mess.
And it's in the area of respect, in the area of healing, where God is looking at that. Like, how did my daughter handle this situation? Because even when he sees how you handle the situation, now he can trust you with more. Now he can trust you to operate in a better way with souls, because that person is still a soul.
Yes, it is. Yes. And like you said, in that ill will, you don't want to do that, because in our workshop, because they don't see the woman.
Yeah.
Who do they see? Men want to see the women. They want to see the woman.
The woman.
So if you act in that manner, you acting like that little girl.
Acting a fool.
And
your emotions.
And that's how they're going to continue to carry you. And that's how they're going to continue to see you, as that little girl.
Yeah. And this is where that breaking point comes, because a lot of women break that passivity by going off and still operating like a little girl, and they get fed up. How many of y'all listening and you just had that moment where you like, I'm fed up, and you just go off, right? But that's still not being your true self.
Nope.
It may relieve you temporarily, but that's not how we break the spirit of passivity here in Dunamis Women.
No.
Well, that may be how they break passivity in the world.
But
at the end of the day, I know that I'm someone that God has really called me and equipped me to not only just be like women. I'm not being like women of this world, but literally to bruise the head of the enemy. And to be able to produce more for his kingdom. So that means that there's more required of me, that I can't just get to my breaking point, which we all have.
We have.
I said I'm the first one. A lot of people
I'm guilty.
And that's Monique full of cuss out, right?
I'm guilty.
But that does not mean that just because I've done it in the past that I have to
continue. Exactly. You don't continue in that one. When you know better, you do better.
And the reason why you get to that point is because you bottled all this stuff up and you didn't allow yourself to go through the healing process of how do I deal with the root? How do I deal with where this really began? How do I really dig deeper based upon this this pain that hit me? And now how do I build up my confidence constructively, so when the moment comes that I shoot and I speak up for myself, I'm doing it in a way where it's loving. It's mind-blowing. It's like
they look at you a little different, like, wow. They will see it because they know that old you.
Exactly.
And then to see this new you, it's like mind-boggling. Because even with that, that betrayal one, it was like, just kept shaking the head, like, wow. he was amazed because he knew the old me.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, wow, you have a forgiving heart. I say, not I, but Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I had my way, it would have went another way. But that's because I was being healed.
Yeah.
If I had not been healed, I wouldn't have been able to stand that.
Yeah. Yeah. And you got to go through the healing process.
You
That's the
have to go through
only
it.
way that you're going to walk in your power and not allow passive. See, because if you don't go through your healing process, another cycle is going to come around and
I
cause
would
you.
say it's going to be another cycle. It's going to repeat itself. It's just going to keep repeating. It's keep coming back around.
And if you really want to say no more to passivity, it's not just give me the tools, give me the affirmations, give me all this different stuff. Let me go off
No.
at the mouth. Let me say something rude. And now I broke passivity.
You got to work the process.
No more. You got to go through the healing process to say no more. Am I getting back to this point? But even if I feel it creeping in, even if I feel someone trying to cause me to be passive, even if this moment, I know how to work through that and not succumb to what's happening around me. Because if you go off in the mouth, it's going to be another situation that's still going to be
it's
passive.
going to come back to you. You're going to keep doing that test until you pass it.
I don't know about y'all in the chat, but y'all can put it down below. I don't want it to come back.
I know. I like to pass the first test. Now, do I pass them all? But that one, I'm not doing over again.
Because it it's so funny when I look back at my wholesome relationships. Well, not all were wholesome now that I think about it, but when I look at my relationships with men and being single, and these are not dating relationships, just relationships with friends. And that was it. I could see different stages of my life where some of them I were just very passive. And I can't go back in time, but a part of me sometimes is like, I wish they could meet this version of me now.
Yes, I can identify with that. I wish some of the male guys that I used to hang with or used to, know if they can see the Antoinette now, like the one back in the day.
And it's not that they would make decisions differently. It's just I could think about circumstances where I could have spoke my mind clearly. I could have said I could have probably imparted wisdom if it was needed, but I wasn't shying away, or I wasn't worried, do I look good or do I not? Or I wasn't worried if this person was going to, have opinions about what I say. It's like, they really could benefit from this version of who I am now a lot better. But I was seeing how I was holding myself from being passive and not stating what I wanted, not stating if I was attracted, not stating if I just even want to go to a movie or something. I don't know. It was just like basic things that it was just like I was so afraid.
You didn't even make a decision. Right. And see, I can identify with that because I just didn't make a decision. It could have went another way. Could have been a wholesome relationship, but I didn't say anything. So.
I didn't say anything. I didn't say if I was attracted. It was something simple. I could remember one guy and he literally was like, "You want to go Target with me?" And I was like, I don't know. Like I just didn't know because I was so passive and I was so nervous. And it's like, that could have been the best midnight Target run ever. You know? And just me being free, going back to the thing that free spirited and not allowing me to struggle with all this. Well, what am I going to wear? My hair look a mess and I don't even know.
That's so overstressing.
It's stressful.
But we did it. We going somewhere and we got to, I got to look like this. I got to get this outfit. Makeup got to be right. Got to look. That's just too much. And just putting on something and going and just being who you are and being free.
And because sometimes that passivity holds us back from just experiencing free-spirited things in our life. You may have a husband who like, hey, let's just go to the barbecue. You know what I'm saying? Or let's go to the movies. And here you are, no, my hair's not done. Or, I don't know, I don't have anything to wear. All that is like, no more.
No more that foolery. No more.
He don't give a damn. He saw the way your hair looked when he asked you. So at the end
exactly. So what difference does it make if you fix it now? Because he saw it.
He already saw it. He just wants to go to the movies. He just want to have a date night with his boo, right? He just want to do something free-spirited. And we let all of our passivity hinder us from having this free spirit part of us, because something like that, I'm just using that for example, me just going on a midnight run with somebody who got a busy schedule. He thought of me to ask me to go to Target. He could thought of any other person. That could have just been, probably need to get out the house.
Yes, just exactly. And like
What
you
is
say, just that,
it?
all that, yeah, and because I mean, I've done that, come on, let's run to the store. And I'm like, well, and I'm sitting here with sweatpants on or whatever and a t-shirt. They saw me in the sweatpants t-shirt and just like, come on, let's go. And I'm like, no, I gotta change my clothes. Then I'm upstairs 30 minutes. It's like, but damn, you had to go put on a whole outfit.
And let's not even talk about
no.
Let's not even talk about going to the store. Let's just say you go to the store, because I get on Genesis with this when she was younger, my niece, and she would be at the store. She'd be at the checkout line, and I'm buying these Skittles, right? And she see this lotion, and she said, TT, I wanted to ask you if maybe you can give me the lotion. I said, girl, child,
we is about to check out. You should have got that lotion long time ago.
It is not even about the fact that you could have got the lotion a long time ago. It's about don't tiptoe around
when you knew that's what you want.
Something you want.
Yes.
Ask what you want. PT, can I get the lotion? Instead of, well, I kind of thought that maybe you could give me the lotion because I see you getting the. I'm like, if you don't ask directly for this lotion, because I'm about to walk out the store, but so many of us do that. And
we do that.
At 12, 11 years old, I used to have to like break her through that, because I'm like, you're not going to be passive about something that you want. If you want the lotion,
say that.
Say you want the lotion. The answer still may be no.
Right. But still ask.
But at least you spoke clearly about what you wanted.
Yeah, and my nieces do that. Yeah. I see them in the store with the stuff in their hand, and I'm letting them walk through the store with it. Because I'm waiting for you to say, Auntie, can I have this? And like you said, they wait. And I'm like, no, because you walked through all of these aisles. I saw when you picked it up. When you picked it up, you should have said, can I have this? No. You need to ask.
Through the aisles. You walk through the kitchen with your husband or the man, and you know you horny and want sex, and you being passive.
Say that.
I don't know if he see me right now. You go in your job and you want a promotion, but then you're like, I don't know if they're gonna give
it to me. It's either yes or no.
It's either yes or no.
Ask. Nothing beats a failure than a try.
We miss out on these opportunities because we want to be passive, but then we want God to say, God, open up doors for me. God, restore my marriage. God, give me a better opportunity in my job. But God is saying, I need you to go after it. I don't need you to be passive. I need you to ask and tiptoe around $1. If you want $1, ask for $1. If you want to raise, If you want intimacy with your spouse,
say that.
Say that. And if it's a no, it's a no. But at least you spoke up
for yourself. Yes.
If you want to go out on a date and you want to dress up, you speak up for yourself. And when I said make a decision. If I was like, hey, I want to get on a nice dress, I want to go out, I want to look good, and then the man that's in my life say no, I'm like, all right,
I'm out. I'm put that dress on and I'm gone.
Call up a girlfriend and I'm gone.
Yes.
Because that's something that I wanted. But passivity used to cause me to creep into that bathroom. He must not love me. He probably don't want to see me look good. And now I'm doubting myself. And now I'm not speaking up. And I'm control of that power. And this is why I'm so looking forward to being at the tour.
Yes.
Because we need that space of women to say no more. And part of breaking that passivity, and if you haven't registered for the tour, I definitely advise you to get your ticket. Whether we're coming to Chicago April 8th, we're kicking off in Atlanta April 1st, or you can come virtual April 1st, and then we have Baltimore April 15th. I definitely want you all to get your tickets, because even when we're talking about being passive, one thing that you have to do is you have to take action.
Yes.
Right? You have to take action. And a lot of times, even in Dunamis Woman, we present things, even if it's just like the tour, we say, hey, we're going on tour, we're doing stuff. And a lot of women reply very passively. Well, I don't really know.
No, I don't know if I have the money. I don't know if I can get off. Put your leave slip in. Just take action. You have to take action.
You want. I say all the time in our Dunamis Women University, which is beyond the community, that implementation is key. Mm-hmm. You cannot get anywhere if you do not implement and you don't take action on your healing. You don't take action on speaking up for yourself. You don't take action of just putting yourself in an environment where you can get built up. Like you were saying, I had to get built up. I had to go through a process. So maybe I'm not confident enough to say it to the person right now, but let me put myself in an atmosphere that's going to build my confidence, that nobody has to know my struggles. Nobody got to know that I'm dealing with passivity.
Mm-hmm.
But this is why we're doing the tour, because we're coming as an army of women, because women are saying no more to passivity, no more to promiscuity, whatever that thing is.
Yes. No more to poverty. No more. No more to any of that. Mainly passivity. We have to, as women, if you have the dunamis on the inner side of you, you have to stand in your power. Ask for what you want. It's gonna be yes or no. And no ain't gonna kill you.
No.
It's not gonna kill you. It's either yes or no, but the person don't know what you want if you don't ask.
Yes, yes.
And then you have to make a decision about what you want to do. We going on a tour. We gave you the dates. You know what how hard is that? Is this date is $97? That's not a hard decision. I'm not trying to pick nobody's pockets. But if I can go to lunch, if I can go out, if I can get my hair done, my nails done, hey, part of my healing and this process of getting over this passivity, nails won't get done, hair won't get done, I won't go out. Something's going to give, and I'm making a decision right now because that can wait.
Yeah, yeah. Because the thing with not making and taking action, and it's not about the investment of anything, it's the fact that the enemy wants to keep you stuck and stuck.
Yes.
I remember talking to a young lady who, and she's, in our Doomsday community, but working through our process of how she was living, in a situation for a very long time, only because she didn't speak up. So you end up having to be in this situation. But the moment she spoke up, the moment that, the man moved out, things shifted on her life. She now, she still got other processes to go through, but at least we got you through this one area where you felt stuck, and it was really bottling her mind, because it was like, I want this situation to change, failing to realize you had the power
to speak up.
And when you opened up your mouth, and literally we were talking about it, and I may have to bring her on, but we're talking about it, and at some moment I said, have you ever just asked for him to leave? While we going through the courts and we going through the house and going through looking for you another place and all sorts of stuff, have you ever just opened up your mouth and asked? And I walked her through how to do it, and the moment she did, he was gone.
See?
And now she had a home. All that time. And there's some other processes that you got to go through, but God still kept her, and God still kept the roof over her head and the roof over her child's head and the roof over her. And now some other processes, and I've seen her grow in her confidence in so many ways. But can I imagine if she really just stays stuck and stagnant in that passivity and not speaking up? Because that's literally what the enemy wants, is for you to just stay stuck in that area. But implementation and taking action moves you forward to what God has for you.
And he will open those doors up, but you have to take the first step of opening your mouth and asking and taking action and implementing and standing on that decision. Because sometimes we'll say, well, I'm not going to do this anymore, and I'm not going to do this. You say it, but then you don't implement and you don't stand on it.
Yeah. And whatever has hit us in our life, this is why the last area, and I didn't mention this in the newsletter, but to really overcome the spirit of passivity and say no more, you got to be surrounded by a
positive people. You have to. That's a must. When I read your thing, that was one of the things I wrote down. You have to be around positive, powerful people, women. And you have that right here in your community.
Right here.
You have it in the community. You have it right here in DCI. You have it in DWU. You have it in your chapter. Draw close to your sisters.
Yeah. And this is why we're the tour is public to the Doomswoman community, because typically, we have private events for our university, but here we're making it public for people to be able to come to be a part of something live in that community that's going to just ignite something out of you. So this is why you have to make your way to the Healing for My Soul tour if you haven't, or even come virtually. But at the end of the day, I admonish that if you live in Atlanta, Chicago, Baltimore, or near area, get in that car, get on that mega bus, get on that Greyhound, whatever you got to do, and you make it happen and you show up live to be a part of that community, because I wouldn't be who I am as a powerful woman and us doing this Woman of Power interview if I didn't have women who really now reminded me of who I was, how to break through that passivity. You know, my mom laughed when I used to say Ariel, you know, MF Monique Fuller. But then sometimes when I got older and stuff really hit me, she said, you better tell them who you are, you know. And I was like, you are right, right?
That's right. That's right. And that's key. I mean, when I read and I wrote it down, I have it and say, surround yourself around positive people, get connected. And I wrote, get connected with your dunamis sisters. Stay connected, because that's where you get your strength from.
Yeah.
And it's strength in numbers.
It's so much strength in numbers. And this is why we're coming like an army of women when we come to that tour, to really say, we're saying no more. We're staying together. We're not backing down from anything. We're literally taking a stance to say no more to the enemy. And I kind of dropped the clip in the group of the video of
that video is powerful. I love it. That video awesome. It came with force. It came with power. I say, wow, I was in the bed. I sat up. I said, they better come through.
Awesome. I don't even know if I can play
all of the gloves. And what got me, when your mom hit the gloves together, I said, that's how we gonna knock him out.
Yes. I don't even know if I could play it, but I'm gonna see if I could play it, because
oh my God, that's a powerful clip.
To have this clip, to be able to say, you know, no more in these areas. More. And this, I mean, we really have to know how to take our stance back and how to be radical and relentless, as we were saying that, you know, in the clip. So it's just so important, because you need that. I'm gonna see if I can play it for y'all. If y'all want to see it, I'm gonna play it.
Yes, that's a powerful clip. That's the thing with fire.
Yes, because I really do feel like it was super duper powerful for you all to see. How do I get back to my screen? Okay, let me see if I can exit out of this, and then y'all can see it if y'all want to see it, because I think that it was so powerful, and it speaks volumes to who we are, just as a community in general, and how we necessarily come together. I don't know how to work this thing, so maybe I can't hear it. But at the end of the day, I'm really looking forward and excited, you know, to be there. And this is why we're coming all week with these interviews, because at the end of the day, it's very important that we be able to see like just all of us coming together. And this is so important. So I'm gonna see if I can. Oh, here it is. All right.
I'm excited about the tour.
Y'all can see my screen?
Yes.
You can see my screen, say yes, you can see my screen. All right. I'm gonna show this, because this is what's gonna take place live. All right. Yes. Sarah said I watched this clip about 4 times.
I watched about 5 already.
In here, right? So let's see if we can hear this, and we're gonna.
When a woman becomes radical and relentless about her healing, she takes a stance against the enemy. She says, "No more, no more pain, no more passivity, no more perversion, no more poverty, no more pride, no more promiscuity."
The enemy has come after your life and legacy, and this is the year where you will not only bruise his head, but unleash the woman within.
It's time for the gates of hell to hear your roar.
So come get in the ring and get ready to fight back at the 2023 Healing for My Soul Tour. No more!
Telling y'all,
it's gonna be fire. I'm excited.
Get there.
Y'all better get them tickets and get there. I will be at all 3 cities.
Yes, because I mean, like that's just how we're bringing. If y'all could just feel the energy in that clip, imagine what's going to happen when you're on the screen, on virtual, live, in person. We could touch you afterwards, pull y'all in the ring. Literally, I think I'm really building a boxing ring. Y'all don't even know. Like I'm really serious about what's coming out of this. So you got to make your way there, you all. You have to make your way there and being with us at the tour. But seriously, those who struggle with passivity, I hope you all got some nuggets tonight.
Yes.
Of really some things that you all can do to start building yourself up, because it's not about the root that came. The enemy knew how to play on that root. But if you stay focused on that root and say, okay, now I see where it came, whether it was a death, whether it was a man, whether it was a bully, whether it was a rape, whether it was a
Manifestation, a parent,
whatever that root is. And now this is why we're on the Healing for My Soul tour, because now with this root, we're going to work through these things, right? And go through our healing process, because now it's time for you to get built up and take a stance in who you are as a woman of power, not a woman of passivity, but a woman of power. And this is where you got to stay connected in the community. Even if you just watch all 5 of these interviews Monday through Friday.
Yes.
It's going to give you things that you need to literally say, I'm here. I'm saying no more. I'm stepping up. I'm not letting 2023 take the best of me anymore, but I'm committed to myself for these next 5 days, even just to hear from Woman of Power, to get built up in this area. So, yes. Angie, before we go, you got any final words you want to say?
The final words is, ladies, get to the tour. We're not going to be passive no more. That balance and that militant is the dunamis that rests on the inside of you. And that's what you have to speak for. It's there. It's just lying dormant, but no more. So get to the tour. Let's go. If it's 3 hours, 4 hours drive, get in your car, hook up with some of your sisters in that chapter, and make it on in.
Yeah. But you know, we have, I should have put another P, is no more procrastination. Because if you
it's part of passivity. It's part of passivity.
You procrastinate.
You're not making a decision.
And you don't make a decision. And this is why we coming out.
Those opportunities. Don't come back when we get back off the tour and all your sisters doing this and doing that. You're like, well, you should have came. Don't be left.
Don't be left behind. Right? Don't be left behind. So tomorrow night, we're going to come with another Woman of Power interview. And we are going to come strong, talking about another topic. And so I want you all to set your alarm for 8 p.m. If you need to watch the replay, it's going to be right here in the group. So you can watch the replay. But I want you to, if you haven't got registered, go to www.healingformysoultour.com and grab your ticket for the tour. We're looking forward to seeing you all there. But tomorrow I'm coming with another Woman of Power, and it's going to be off the chain as we continue to address some of these areas. So this is like a mini power series, I guess you want to say, not a challenge, but
a mini power challenge.
We're doing a mini power challenge, right?
Friday challenge. Yeah.
So commit to yourself for these 5 days.
Yes.
Get your popcorn, get your Skittles, whatever you got to get, and be ready. Look, I don't know who Skittles these are, but I'm going to eat them. Be ready to be here at 8 o'clock p.m. for our next one. I'm not going to tell you our topic. Y'all got to check your email tomorrow morning.
Yes.
To get the topic of what we're going to talk about. But Angie, I love you.
I love you too, Ari.
You are
BW community. Let's go, y'all. No more. We got this.
More.
Let's rock it. No more.
No
Passivity. No more. Let's go. As Colleen would say, let's go.
Let's go. I love you all. Have a good rest of your night.
Have a good evening.
We'll see you tomorrow at 8 p.m.